Okay, let's start back our science class. What was the topic we were doing in the previous class?
Yes, sir. We discussed about uh, some pest crops. I
Repeat.
have some questions. Sir, I have some questions.
You don't remember.
Sir, we did some protection sir, for pests. We did protection of pests. I have a question.
See, these are the insects that can harm the crops. When crops are in the farming land, in the field, these are the insects that can harm our field. Locust, aphid, termite, ground beetle. They eat up the leaves, they eat up the seeds, they eat up the flowers. And if these insects eat up the flowers and seeds and leaves, of course the crop plant will die. And if the crop plant die, will not get the production. So we have to stop these insects harming our crops, right?
Yes, sir.
And for that purpose, we use chemicals, pesticides, insecticides, etc. So let us see some names of pesticides and insecticides. What is pest?
That's an organism, sir.
What organism?
That will eat up that if that eats or plant.
What organism?
Fungi, like sir, fungi.
Did I teach about this in the previous class?
You said the names of
I did not teach it. You don't care, right?
Okay.
You don't care what I teach.
Sorry, sir, okay.
No matter what I teach, you will just ignore. Pests, microorganisms like bacteria, fungi, virus.
Sorry, sir.
So you don't care what I taught. Didn't I send this PDF?
You sent,
This is the notes of the previous class. Pests, insects, rodents.
sir, you said fungi.
DDT, malathion. These are the two chemicals, for example, which are used as pesticides. These are the chemicals. So these are mixed in water in very small amount, and using an spray machine, they are sprayed all over the farming land, I mean on the crops. Now let us see some names of insecticides. Pesticides and for fungicides also. Wait, actually these are insecticides itself. And for pesticides, including fungus, bacteria, etc., various sulfur and copper salts. I mean, these are the chemicals made of sulfur and copper, which are used to kill various pests like fungus, bacteria, and other microorganisms. And next is rodenticides. What are rodents?
Rat.
Don't remember.
Rat. I said rat.
Yes. So rodenticides are zinc phosphide, these are names of chemicals, zinc phosphides and warfarin. So for example, you can remember these names. Let us see some videos on spraying.
This video will show you how to downward spray a pesticide using water. You will need your pesticide label. Every leaf and stem that is sprayed has a cover of drops over the entire surface. Contact herbicides.
See, the person is spraying the chemical mixed with water on the crops.
Yes, sir, I can see.
This is manual spraying.
Okay, sir.
The
Or
person is
stick
using a
pesticide
machine
to use larger drops rather than the smaller
in which there is a container. He is carrying the container on his back, and there is a nozzle. He is making the pressure by using the handle, and then it is being used.
Okay.
When air is coming out of the nozzle and the spray liquid is all used, place a stick at the
See the handle here.
This will mark
Can you see
Yes,
the
sir. I
handle? He
can
is
say yes. Yes, sir.
a small unsprayed area which can be sprayed later with the water used to clean the inside of the sprayer. For more information about using pesticides and which PPE
this is manual spraying. Sometimes spraying can be done with the help of some helicopters as well,
Okay, sir.
but that is applicable for big farming lands on a very large scale. Very big farmers can only use this process.
Okay, sir.
In this process, helicopters carry those chemicals mixed with water and fly over the crop field.
Okay, sir.
See,
Sir, I can say there is something.
can you see that foggy bag?
Yes, sir, I can say.
That is the spray.
Okay, sir.
This is done by very big farmers or on a government level. When government allows to spray it for all the farmers in a big farming land, this is done.
Okay, sir.
And this can be done with the use of tractors as well.
Okay, sir. Sir, is this a tractor?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
This tractor is designed for multi-purpose uses.
Okay, sir.
It has big hands.
Yes, sir.
See, it is taking up the water. Chemicals are being mixed
Okay, sir.
in a very small amount. Did you notice?
Yes, sir, I noticed. That's only little, sir.
6,000 liter. So huge.
Yes, sir.
See how big hands this has.
Much large.
Spraying started. See. So these are the farming tools. How important is the protection of crops is? You can notice, you can understand by this process.
Yes, sir, that's so important.
These are flowering plants.
Okay, sir.
That's it. So there are various methods depending on what is the size of your farming land. You can choose a better tool.
Okay, sir.
Now these are the weeds, unwanted plants in the farming land. Farmers don't need these plants. These are the weeds. Amaranthus, Cynopodium, Convolvulus, and wild oat, grass. These are all unwanted plants. Is it visible?
Sir. Yes, sir, that's visible.
Okay. So whenever farmers sow the seeds and crops grow, these unwanted plants grow along with them. Now you might be thinking, how do seeds of these unwanted plants come? Because
Yes,
farmers are not sowing these seeds, so how these seeds come? Actually, this is natural process. Every year these grow without your wish. You don't wish to grow them. You don't wish them to grow in your farming land, but they anyhow grow.
Okay, sir.
There are various reasons for that. One reason, birds, when eat the seeds of such plants anywhere else, can release their excreta. You understand excreta? The wastage that is given out for the food,
Okay, sir.
that is produced from the food.
Okay, sir.
So birds, when eat the seeds of these plants somewhere else, can come to your farming land and can release the excreta. Those excreta may have the seeds of these plants. When this is in your field, these plants can grow.
Okay, sir.
This is one of the reasons. Second reason, if by your mistake some seeds of these plants fall in your land, after that the seed remains in your land, in your farming land, and can grow later after a few months when its suitable time comes.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So this is a natural process. Plant grows, matured, seeds becomes matured, it burst out and spread all around in the field. Now you remove the plant, but seeds are still there in your farming land that can
Yes.
grow later.
Yes, sir.
So knowingly or unknowingly, you can't get rid of these unwanted plants. Now what is the harm if these unwanted plants are in your farming land? What is the problem? Problem is that you are investing your money to mix fertilizer, manure into your farming land so that your crop plants can take up those nutrients from the fertilizer, from manure, etc.
Yes, sir.
You are investing huge amount of money for that. But these unwanted plants also take up the nutrients. Do you want these unwanted plants to take up those nutrients from your hard earned money?
No, sir. No,
Of
sir.
course not. So that's the problem.
Okay, sir.
So how to get rid of these plants? To get rid of these unwanted plants, farmers use different processes. If your farming land is very small and you can afford removing these plants one by one manually by hand, some farmers can afford it. If it is very small farming land, they don't afford that huge amount of money to spray some chemicals, to deploy some laborers to remove them.
Okay, sir.
They remove each plant one by one themselves. Some bigger farmers can deploy some laborers to remove these plants from their farming land one by hand.
Okay, sir.
Some bigger farmer than that can afford spraying some types of chemicals, can afford, or they are ready to do that. Some farmers can afford but they are not ready to do that because of the side effects of the chemical sprays. I told you in the previous class, if
Yes,
you
sir.
spray chemicals in your farming land, there are many consequences of that.
Yes, sir.
So many farmers don't want to spray such chemicals. They anyhow try to remove them without chemicals.
Okay, sir.
But there are chemicals available in the market. Some types of chemicals specifically for this type of unwanted plant, for this one, for this one, or for this one, or for two of them, for three of them. Means any chemical may not be working for all these weeds. Some type of chemical may be working for one of them or only two of them. Some other type of chemical may be working for the remaining three of them, etc. So it depends. It's like a trial and error method. You buy chemicals, mix some amount of it with water, take the spraying machine and spray all over the farming land or over the crop. What happens? Your crops are not getting damaged due to those chemicals, but these weed plants get damaged. So those chemicals are smartly designed, smartly manufactured. They work upon these weeds only, not on your crops.
Yes, sir.
That's very good.
Yes, sir.
Removal of weeds can be done in two ways. First, manual removal. By hand, one by one. And the second is chemical method. By spraying some types of chemicals. Okay. Now let us see some videos over soil preparation. We have discussed about it earlier, right?
Yes, sir.
This also is done in various processes. One may be manual, like using very small machine called plow. Have you seen
Yes.
plow?
Yes, sir. You showed him video also.
Okay. These days, it has become an outdated process. Very few farmers use plow.
Okay, sir.
There is no video available for even then.
Steve and capital change. He carried me on her shoulders, carrying me from my childhood till today. She
Let us pick up from where we left off. Agricultural practices, right? We decided to learn the various processes used for the activity of agriculture. What do you think is the most... Yes, soil is usually found solidified into hard turn in the... Yes, the answer is earthworms. They help loosen the soil and also in...
See this process. There is a small wooden machine called plow, and there are two auctions there. And the person is using the power of the two auctions to turn the soil. This is how the soil is being prepared for sowing the seeds. And see, this is done in a lining.
Yes, sir. I can see that.
Actually, this process the person is doing is not the very initial stage. He has already done this process earlier also, and now it is time to make the linings so that he can
Okay.
sow the seeds between in these gaps. This is the soil preparation method using
Plug,
plow.
sir.
We saw the videos over tractors, right?
Yes, sir.
See, this person is using a tractor. This is a faster process. It takes money, but it depends how big your farming land is. If it is very large, you will not choose the plow, because plow takes very very long time to prepare the soil.
Yes, sir.
Now notice in this farming land here on the right hand side you can see the greeneries.
Yes, sir.
Because of many weeds are there along with the crop, that's why it is looking green. But see on the left side, the weeds have been removed, only the crops are there, right?
Yes, sir.
Now you can think, you can understand how serious this problem is, how big problem it is.
Yes, sir.
In this part weeds have been removed completely, but in this part there are many weeds, unwanted plants. They are taking up the nutrients from the soil
Yes, sir.
unwantedly. You can see these are the crops, bigger plants, and these are grasses, unwanted plants.
There are so many of them, sir.
Yes, and it also depends. I mean, the method you will choose to remove the weeds also depends on if you have gap between the plants or not. Presently, in this example, in this video, we are seeing that there are crops in the linings, and between the two linings, we have very large gap in which we have weeds, unwanted plants. So
Yes.
we can use machines also. We can just turn the soil between them, between the linings. If we turn soil, what will happen? The weeds, the unwanted plants will turn down. They will be buried, right? They will be buried
Yes, sir.
under the soil. If they are buried under the soil, probably they will be rotten. They will dead, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, they will be dead, and we can get rid of weeds. But in some cases, we may not have this much gap between the linings of the crop. Means we have just crops everywhere without any gap, and between them we have small crops, small unwanted plants, weeds like these are small plants. And then in that case it is very difficult to use any machine to turn the soil. If you turn the soil, not only the weeds but also crops will be buried.
Okay, sir. That will
So
be
that
a loss.
actually this depends on various types of patterns. Like in a paddy field or a wheat field, you may not have this much gap. But if you have a maize field, maize,
Yes, sir.
corn. Yes, so if you have a corn field, maize field, you may have the linings like this, and you may have a big gap between them. You can use any machine to turn the soil simply.
Okay.
So that is a mechanical method. Turning the soil to remove the weeds is a mechanical method. There are some chemical methods also. You will just spray the chemicals and some unwanted plants will be dead.
Okay, sir.
It's a very long video. Let's move it ahead. Let's make it fast forward. See, this person is using a machine to turn the soil. He will turn the soil and all the weeds will be turned down.
Okay, sir.
They will be uprooted or will be turned down, will be buried under the soil, and anyhow they will be dead. So this
Okay,
person
sir.
is taking care that the linings having the crop may not be should not be damaged. Only the crops, only the unwanted plants or weeds should be damaged. He is taking care of the linings.
Yes, sir.
I hope you understood how important is removal of weeds.
Yes, sir. There are so many people.
Now, what do you think? How difficult or how easy is growing the food, growing
That's so
crops?
difficult, sir.
That's a difficult process. Just like a manufacturer, a factory owner produces many products in his factory, a farmer produces many crops in his farming land, and that is not safe. Anytime, any type of attack may be there, attacks of insects, pests, attack of weather, like
Yes, sir.
it may be frost, right?
Yes, sir.
If it is very hot or very cold, your crop
The
may be
plants will
damaged.
dry, sir.
Yes, if it is a storm, if any storm comes, your crops may be dead.
Yes, sir.
So every moment farmers are at risk. Still, they remain in the process, they keep producing crops for
Yes,
our
sir.
food. Our food comes from land only, plants.
Yes, sir.
I remember in my village, uh, there are many farmers. I also belong to a farmer family where we had farming lands with mango trees.
Okay, sir.
Many farmers practice mango farming, and there is a
Okay,
very
sir.
big risk. You know what? In the
No,
starting
sir.
season, in a flowering season, we call it manjari. The flowers of mango tree is are known as manjari. So when
Okay, sir.
manjari comes, I mean flowers come, there are many diseases also there. Many insects attack on them. Many microorganisms attack on them, and due to which all the flowers may be damaged. Only a few remains after that attack. If only few remains, that means only few fruits will be on the tree.
Yes,
Only
sir.
few. And that again may be attacked by some other insects or other weather conditions.
Yes, sir.
Lastly, many farmers remain with no fruit on their trees. So every year they have to spray some type of chemicals over the flowers to get rid of those microorganisms, to protect the flowers so that they
Okay,
can
sir.
get production, and
Okay, sir.
and we can eat mangoes in the mango season.
Okay, sir.
Do you like eating mangoes?
Yes, sir.
So I encourage you to do some practices like this. I mean, farming practices. Give me a moment, please.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so David, I was telling, I encourage you to grow some crops in your backyard if you have. If no backyard is there, you can try this in pots, small
Okay,
pots.
sir.
Like you can take 2 to 3 maize seeds, corn seeds, put it in the soil in a uh, try to take a bigger pot if it is possible.
Yes, sir, I
bigger
will try.
bigger pot will have a larger amount of soil, larger amount of nutrients in it, so that will be favorable for that. So put the seeds into the soil, take care of it, and make sure the soil is wet, not completely dry, not completely wet as well.
Okay, sir.
Okay, it must be having moisture, because
Okay, sir.
if the soil is not having moisture, your seeds will not germinate in that.
Okay, sir.
So what you can do
Can you
to
give
grow?
me steps, sir?
Yes,
Steps.
that's what I'm telling. Steps to grow a corn plant. First step, take a few. A few means you have to take care how many seeds you are taking, depending on what is the amount of land available there, or how many pots you have. Depending on that, you will choose how many seeds you will take. Okay,
Okay, sir.
if you have three pots, you can choose at least 9 seeds for three for each. Okay,
Okay, sir.
take a few healthy seeds.
Okay, sir.
Notice that it should not be eaten up by insects. It should not be having any hole.
Okay, sir.
The seed must not be having any hole. If you are pressing it, it should not be spongy. It should
Okay,
be
sir.
hard. If it is hard, that means seed is healthy. It
Okay,
should be
sir.
hard, without any hole, and size should be appropriate, I mean bigger. Sometimes if it is diseased, if it is having any disease, the seed may be very small in size. Try to take healthy seeds. So after taking seeds, second step, put the seeds in water. Just a moment. Put the seeds in water to soak. For at least 6 to 7 hours. Okay, seeds must be water soaked for 6 to 7 hours.
Okay, sir.
Third step, now put these seeds under soil. And at one place, maximum 2 to 3 seeds is okay.
Okay, sir.
Why we put 2 to 3 seeds? Reason is that we are not sure if each of them will germinate. Maybe
Okay, sir.
if we are putting 3 seeds, maybe one of them will be dead, and two of them germinate, or maybe
sir.
two of them gets dead and only one germinate, depending on the conditions. So we, for precautions, put more than one seed. So I suggest 2 seeds at least at one place.
Yes, sir.
If both of them germinate, you can remove one of them later, so that only one seed should be there. Only one plant should be at one place. If only one plant is there, that will grow healthy. Put these seeds under soil. 2 seeds at one place or in one pot. Okay,
Okay, sir.
make sure that the soil is wet. You have to put some water over it. Don't
Okay, sir.
completely drain it, but give some water so that the soil is not dry. Make sure the soil is not dry. Well, once you are done with this process, you have to wait to grow the plant to matured.
How
Okay,
many months, sir?
let it be matured. Once your plant is matured, you will see some ball will come out. Ball is actually not is actually the fruit of that plant. I'll show you images. See, this is how the fruits will look like. This is how a plant looks like. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
This is how a plant of maize looks like, and this is how the seeds or the fruit will come out. This is just one fruit. See this one. Can you see these two fruits?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And one fruit may have, hundreds of seeds into it. You will see some flower on the top and flowers on the fruits as well.
Okay, sir.
Can you see this image?
Yes, sir.
So in the starting, they'll be covered up with some leafy structure, green leafy structure. Let them grow. Don't damage it till the leaves can become brown. Once the leaves becomes brown, that means your crop is matured. Now you can remove the seed and you can enjoy eating it up.
Okay, sir.
Do these practices. This will give you the idea how crop is produced. Okay, David, now here only we have to stop for today. We'll continue the discussion in the next class. Bye bye.
Bye, bye, sir.